So today, I'd like to talk about God or higher self, um, and yeah, let's talk about that and how those words are used and how you understand them.
Yeah, I've been kind of wrestling with this idea recently myself. Is there some kind of intelligence at work in life itself? It does seem to be that, synchronicities. Carl Gustav Jung spoke about this. He was very intrigued with synchronicity, and he uses examples in his work. You can see them. One was a book, I think, that fell off the shelf, and when he opened it, there was some significance to what he was talking about with the people around the table at the time. These are kind of synchronicities that happening to me recently, and they've always been happening, but I'm more aware of them now. And some of them are so exquisite, they almost, you could say they have to be designed almost. There has to be some kind of design or intelligence at work. It does seem that way, that it's almost impossible that they could be chance, a lot of them. I've got one that comes to mind, but it's too long a tale to tell. I'll probably tell it next time, some other time, but for sure they happen. Now, this morning, with this in mind, and I think that's part of it as well, I think your mind can influence the environment and vice versa. It feeds back. There's a feedback loop that's kind of initiated once you've got an intention. So it's almost like a call, and then it's answered by the universe in some way, the energy. It's all one, I think, everything. So it's kind of inevitable that would be the case. We come from the whole cosmos and we return to it. And we're just kind of, so this morning I got up with that in mind. I thought, this question was in my mind. What am I doing? Is there a direction? What course is my evolution taking? And with this in mind, I went for my morning swim. Danny and I have been getting up at 5 o'clock, as we've said in other podcasts. We've got a program where we get up early so we can catch the sunrise. We kind of were prompted to do this by Jack Cruz, a guy called Jack Cruz. You can check out his YouTube channel, and he advocates getting up to regulate your biorhythms and your body clock, just regulate them to the sun so that we're in tune with the sun, as opposed to electric light and all the rest of it. So we've been doing this for all the time we've been here. I don't think we've missed a day, unless I was sick recently, so I missed a few days. Danny carried on. So I done this morning, and I went for my morning swim with this in mind. What is the path? What is my path? Where am I going? What's the evolutionary path? I wonder what this is all about, ultimately. And I swam out to a rock wall that's like a breaker, a man-made rock wall, some massive rocks, and they stick out of the sea and they break the water. So you have calm water towards the beach. So I've swum to this rock wall, sat on the rock, and normally I would just, once I've achieved that, I would swim straight back. I wouldn't bother to sit there and meditate or anything. I'm not into meditation, still meditation. My whole life is kind of a meditation. I try to be aware all the time, so it becomes a meditation. So this morning I said, right, let me do a formal meditation. I'll just sit quietly, stay here for 15 minutes, see what arises. And what arose was, I looked out at the horizon line of the sea where it meets the sky, and I saw like an image of a person. This was a visual kind of hallucination that came as I closed my eyes. I saw it, and I saw an image in the far distance of a person with their back to me. So I've kind of, with my mind, I've drew myself towards this figure. So I'm moving through the air towards this figure, closer and closer. I could see, I thought it might be my father who's deceased. No, it's not him. I could see it's not the shape of his head. Then I thought it might be my son. No, it's not him. I could see it's just not his body shape. Blah, blah. All the characters have come out. Then as I've gone closer, I've seen it is actually my shoulders. It's myself. So as I've gone really close to this character now, the character's turned around, and indeed it was myself, but it was a self that was completely perfected. And it's almost as if I could hear, like in my mind, I've been waiting for you, came up. I've been waiting for you to arrive. And what I realized is that the whole life, all of this time, I've been working my way towards that potential self, that perfect self. And what happens in life is you get caught up in distractions. All kinds of things, dramas, family dramas, work, and these are all the things you have to remove in order to align yourself with your perfect self. You have to get rid of all these obstacles and keep moving forward. But the trap is of life, unless you see this perfected self waiting for you, you've just got nothing to pull you. There's no momentum to pull you along. So you get trapped in the drama of life, and then you end up unevolved. You will not reach your full potential at all. So you have to kind of, like, it's the same as if you want to train. If you're training and you want to change your body type and you want to look more like Brad Pitt, for instance, you put Brad Pitt's picture on the wall, and it helps you. You've got a visual focus of what you're trying to achieve. It's very powerful, you see, but mine came from within myself, you see, and it kind of showed me immediately this is what it is. And the person that was on the horizon was a very powerful person. I could feel that, but it was me. It was my potential self. So if I continuously move forward towards that character, you'll end up being that character, the powerful person that one was.
And how does that relate to the phrase higher self? Well, how does that relate? Because often the way I've understood that is that is a part of my current self in a way. That it's used often in the 12-step program. People speak about it a lot. And sometimes it's used as an alternative to the word God. And to me, it seems to me that that's this part of myself that is the human part, the human, so to speak, part of myself, the wise part of myself, the unconditioned part of myself. So how does that relate? How does what you're saying relate to what I'm saying now?
Yeah, it's the highest self. So it's the self that's fully developed. And as you say, it's fully human. So that is the self waiting for you. See, the work required is to move towards that self all the time, removing obstacles. Like I used the analogy of the scalpel in the last tool, where we're chiseling a new self. We're actually sculpting a new self from the clay that we are, from the mud that we are. So it's alchemical. Yeah, the alchemists of old spoke about lead to gold. You see, the leaden self, the crude, cruddy self that we're born as. And then I used the caterpillar metaphor in the last talk, which is beautiful. So you were born as a caterpillar, you see, crawling in the mud, no wings. And the highest self is the butterfly. In that scenario, the caterpillar is the leaden self and the butterfly is the gold. When all the impurities are burnt off, the gold is the highest self. That's the highest self, not high in the sky. As you say, it's your potential. It's right here, but we just can't see it because there's so much obscuration. And the culture adds more and more as well. So you've got work, you've got there, you've got distractions, you've got sex, you've got drugs, you've got there, you've got something else, you've got friends who are pulling you, you've got, calling you this way, left, right, center, family members, and you've got to extricate yourself from all of that in order to attain your full potential. You have to. Same with athletics. You have to train very hard, and you have to, you don't want to do it. It's very painful, but you have to do it. No pain, no gain. Same with the caterpillar metaphor. It has to die. The caterpillar literally has to die. He has to be completely deconstructed, radically deconstructed, and then reconstructed as a butterfly. That's the same process we have to go through. And I saw that the self that presented itself to me was the imago. It was the perfected self. It's my potential realized. It's already realized, but not here. See, I have to do the work to reach it. But it just gives you confirmation. This is the self you will become if you do the work and you're not distracted. And because that will stunt your growth. If you're distracted for too long, that's another point. As you get older, you can't waste time. You see, Danny's brother's involved in a situation now, but it's taking all of his time. And it may rob him of his higher self. He may not make it because, if it takes 10 years, if he's 57 at the moment and it takes him 10 years, he may not even get there. So you've got to be very economical with your time. You see, you've got to move along very quickly. You've got to be very forceful and ruthless about attaining your potential and expressing your potential, or else you'll end up failing. The mission will abort and you'll end up, in the caterpillar state or in between, you see, the state. Not.
Okay. What comes to mind is how does this whole idea, both the higher self and of a guiding intelligence, how does that square with the idea that that life itself is an abomination. How does that square with the idea that, you know, that if there was a creator, that creator must surely be a sadist? Yeah. So how does that all square together? Do you know? Do you not know? What do you think?
Yeah, it's all a diabolical game, really. It's when you consider it from the highest perspective, it's absolutely not worth playing at all. But then but then all you're left with is to end your life, and that's not what I'm advocating. We're in the game now. As David Benatar says, it would be better if you weren't born at all into the game, to have to go through all this struggle to attain your potential. It's all ridiculous, really, when looked at from the highest perspective. It's absolutely ridiculous. But we're in the game now. Our parents have seen fit to bring us into the game, and we're now encapsulated in flesh. And so this is the optimum way to perform within the arena of life. We say, apart from just immediately ending your life, which would solve all problems, of course. Then there wouldn't be no need to attain, and all of this higher self would be eradicated, the whole thing. But if you're not going to choose that strategy, then the other strategy is to just try to obviously make the best of it that you can. And that, to me, is the best of it. If you reach your highest potential self, then you're living here. You know, it will help your efficiency of performance here. It will help in every way. You'll be so wise, you'll choose the correct food for yourself. You'll be totally in tune with your body's needs. So you won't abuse yourself. You see, you will know what to do, when to do it. You see, I'll find that this ties in with the synchronicity. You're being pulled, I think, is a magnetic pull towards your higher self. But all of your emotional system is a block. It gets in the way, you see. Emotions, arguments, anger, all of these things, lust, they all prevent you from reaching the goal. So to me, it's a tantalizing and quite enjoyable game to play. Once you've got these things in mind, you say, if you see that if you try to, you'll find it yourself. Just do the meditation. Imagine what you'd be like if you were perfected, if you were your perfect self. Imagine what that self would be like. Would that self drink alcohol? Say, would that self wear perfume? And if it did wear perfume, what kind of perfume? Go through in, minute detail, and you'll see a self will emerge. Just through thinking about it like that. What kind of shoes would that self be wearing? What kind of clothing would that self choose? You see, it's a good game to play with yourself, and it will lead to a perfected self.
Yeah, I like what you said. What you said about that there's a kind of pull towards the higher self, and then there's all these obstacles that get in the way, because it reminds me a bit about our experience that we've kind of touched on in a previous podcast, where, we've been here for now approaching 8 weeks, and we've got a rhythm to what we do, and lots and lots of interesting and wonderful synchronicities have happened. And then one day, we got pulled off, right? And we ended up going to this bar, and I got pulled off as well. I don't drink alcohol at all, but I went to this bar. It was a beautiful bar by the sea, and they kept on plying. I didn't take very much. I only had I had a tiny little thimbles. I don't know, 2 or 3 little thimbles, right? But even that was completely unnecessary, and I should have refused. My brother was here, and they tried to get him, and he just said no, no, no. He must have said no about 10 times, and they left him alone. And they thought they were doing us a favor because it was free, but really they're just trying to get us roped in. And so we went to this bar. I was dancing. It was all very nice. And then we it closed, and then we went to another one. There was live music, and then we basically stayed up till 4 or 5 o'clock that night. And I've been going to bed, because I'm getting up at 5. I've been aiming to go to bed at 9, 10 o'clock latest. Sometimes a little bit later, but in general, going to bed at reasonable times. And that night I didn't do it. And every day we've been here, we've had these synchronicities. That day, everything went pear-shaped, right? I'm not going to go into the details as it's not important, but everything went pear-shaped, and we were stuck in a place that we couldn't get back to our home, and just a lot of things happened, and it went pear-shaped. I just that's what it brought to mind, that if we're in line with, with our higher self, if we're doing things like getting up and getting up with the sunset and swimming in the sea and doing exercise and eating well and meditating and dancing and yoga and or whatever, some combination of those things, and laughter, that if those we've learned from experience that if those things are in place, then that seems to open up the path, this magnetic pull of the higher self to synchronicities. And then when you get out of line with that, with all these things that distract, then that seemed to take us off that path. And it was fine, because, okay, we learned that lesson and we got back on track and things started to flow again.
Yeah, analogy came to mind, surfing. It seems there is a connection with surfing. There's an energy field instead of a body of water. That's what life seems to be. We're in an energy field all the time. There's an energy field, there's an atmosphere, there's an energy field. And if you surf very well, you just watch surfers, they connect with the wave, and then they can, once they're in sync with the wave, the water, the environment they're in, they flow along lovely. And then they might lose their flow, or they lose their concentration for a moment, and then they're thrown off the wave. And then it's churning and they're all over the place, and then they have to recover again and find the wave again, and then again they're off surfing. So it seems to be that is the analogy that works with life. I feel it that way. Everything goes negative. Once you lose your kind of alignment, or your nice discipline, you fall off, and then a negative thing is introduced, and then it starts to become all negative. And you can feel this also on entheogens, especially LSD. It's very powerful, LSD. If you take it, one little thing introduced that upsets you, and it colors the whole trip. The whole trip becomes infused with that negative energy, and it changes the whole trip from positive to negative. And then the same in reverse. See, just a smiling face, somebody just smiling at you and saying hello, and it changes the whole trip back to positive again. And then lovely colors come back in nice feelings, you feel confident, and off you go. You see, so this seems to be at play all the time with life. It's a game. You have to really feel it and maintain your balance, and always be on point like a surfer does. Always feeling the atmosphere, feeling where you should go, using intuition, which becomes more powerful the more you use it. And you find that you can tiptoe through all of the, without stepping on any mines. That crept in that particular night because we got carried away. We were excited. They were giving us praise. They were filming us. We were dancing. We kind of felt electric, lovely. And then all of us, then of course they come with the shot glasses. You see, they come with a shot glasses offer. And then if you're not in a controlled state of mind and you're excited, then boom, before you know it, you've down to 2 or 3 shots. You see, so now I have made a strict commitment never to drink now. I've set my mind up so alcohol is like poison to me now. So if it's ever offered, no matter how juicy and strawberry color and blackberry vodka and this, that, I will refuse, because it's just poison dressed up as a fruit drink.
Okay, I'm going to push back on that a bit. I think this is really, really important, because I've been around you now for 8 weeks, and I've learned so much. And I'm still learning, and some of the things are painful, some are less painful. And I really like this idea of pushing for perfection, because most of my life I've seen perfectionism as a problem, and it can be a terrible problem, because perfectionism can lead to total paralysis, and that's what's happened for me in lots of situations. So it can be really, really destructive. But I remember when I've got a video about the course that I did called Never Binge Again. Now it's called Defeat Your Cravings. And the guy that created it, Glenn Livingston, he taught me an idea that I hadn't really come across before, which is to actually that a person should aim for perfection, just like an athlete, yeah. And an athlete says, right, I'm going to aim for perfection. This is how it's going to be. I'm going to aim for perfection. And the athlete might say, I might vow, right, I'm going to do this every day or whatever it is, and I'm not going to do that or whatever it is they're going to vow. And then as the time goes on, and especially as time goes on and they get further away from the vow, they may or may not be tempted. And in a moment of whatever, of impulse, they might do the thing that they said they'd never do again. And you have done that. I've been with you for a while, and you become aware of certain behaviors, whether it's being around sugar or other things. And then you said, yeah, that's it. No more of that. And then I've noticed it does creep back in, and then you recommit, right? So I think it's worth me pushing back a little bit on that, because it's so easy to forget, to forget what we learn, right? And in a moment of impulse, because we're such impulsive beings, and the way I see it is that we've got this beast part of ourselves, the amygdala, I think it is, the part of ourselves, of the brain that is animalistic, and it will trick us into behaviors that we vowed we weren't going to do. So what do you think about that?
Well, the commitment is just a kind of a bulwark against that. It's like I'm trying to set up a firm wall against it happening again. And that helps me personally, because even if I err, soon as I err, then I say, right, okay, this beast has taken advantage of me again. Then I reset the parameter again. I reset it. And it seems to, if I don't reset it, then the beast kind of has complete control, because there's nothing firm there. Like when you're training dogs, you have to be very firm with the dog, or else it would completely take over. We've got cats here, feral cats, and I've been trying to work with them. There's one that came forward. There's about 10 of them that came around initially, but only one came forward with confidence, and I could stroke that one. He had the confidence to come forward. So that's the one I chose to feed, because if not, I'd be going out all day long buying cat food for all of them. And then there'd be 20, 30, 40, there's heaps of them here. See, so I've selected that one, and I've been working with that one by kind of regulating its food, because it will eat everything. It would keep chomping. It's crying and whining for more food, even when it's fed, more. So I've had to be very strict with it. I give it half a can in the morning and maybe half a can in the evening, but definitely every morning half a can. And then I have to shoo it away, because it keeps on and on and on, and it will take over. It will try to come in the house. That's another boundary. I've set a boundary where it must not come in the house. So it just stays there in the little garden we have at the back and waits there, and it can lay there in the shade, lovely. And that's about as close as I want to get with the cat, you see. And it's the same with the beast, you see. It has to be taught that it's not in control. See, and that's where the hard line comes, you see. We're not drinking alcohol. We can have another drink, water. Yes, you can have some water. There's no nutritional value in alcohol. It's a poison, you see. It has to be told that. And you have to keep on telling yourself that it's poison. There is nothing nutritious in alcohol. All it is a taste sensation, and actually it's negative. It destroys all your cognition, as we said before, your focus. It opens you to, I think, really demonic possession. I think so. I'm beginning to think so now. It opens your mind to all kinds of stuff that's out there. And even if it's not out there, it's just people, demonic people, that would like to take advantage of you. They will move in very quickly once they see that you're not really yourself. You see it with women, as I said before. If you go to Brighton and have a look at the evening when the clubs are finished, you'll see women laying on the floor with their clothes half off. And any predator can just scrape them up and take them and then that's the end of it, you see. They're assaulted. So it's not good at all. See, so I have to, at my stage of life, say no to it now. Absolutely no. No more alcohol. There's no need for it. There's no need for me to drink it. There's no nutritional value in it. And I'm interested in health, you see. So I think those two together, full focus on health, which hasn't been there before, mind you. I've been messing about, you see, to a certain extent, and not fully focusing on this character that's waiting for me on the horizon. Number one, I didn't see the character. Number two, even if I did before, I wouldn't have fully focused. You see, and not take it 100% seriously. You have to take your mission in life 100% seriously to attain anything. Any athlete would tell you that. If it means getting rid of alcohol, that's not a big deal for me. It's not a problem at all. I don't particularly like the effects of it anyway, so, or even the taste of it. So it doesn't matter to me at all. It's not a big thing to give up. It's easy for me, that one. The sugar is more difficult, and we could talk about that maybe in another one. That's, to me, the ultimate drug is sugar.
Okay, yeah, let's leave that for another one. But thank you very much. And if anybody's got any comments and you're watching this on YouTube, questions, comments, criticism, whatever it is, or critique, please do leave them in the comments and we will hopefully get back to them if we feel like it. Have a good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are.